His Excellency Ambassador Gregor Pascal from Belgium Embassy, Ms. Federica Alexis Karl, Mr. Diovio Alfat, Ms. Cindy Lam, Secretary General, delegates from 79 countries all over the world, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Symposium of the Asia Youth International Model United Nations AYUMUN themed Human Security Agenda in the Globalization World. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as many of us are aware, human security is an emerging paradigm for understanding and creating awareness of global vulnerabilities, where a person or a group or a movement or an established organization advocates a theory, proposal, or course of action to challenge the traditional notion of national security, which is very much in the scope of security of a nation state, including citizen, economy, institution, which is regarded as the duty of the government. Advocates, however, have always been arguing that a proper reference for security should be at the human level rather than a national level. Human security reveals a people-centered and a multidisciplinary understanding of security involves a number of research fields, and this includes development studies, international relations, strategic studies, and human rights. My dear brothers and sisters, today, in a globalized world, human security has become a larger paradigm than what we could imagine. It is becoming an unadjustable threat to everyone. Let's look at the possible types of human security threats that one could face. Economic security, persistent poverty and unemployment, food security, hunger, health security, deadly infectious disease, unsafe food, malnutrition, lack of access to basic healthcare, and many more, just name it. Environment security, personal security, community security, and political security. My question now is human security in the globalization world that you and I are advocating sufficient? Have issues pertaining to human security as a growing paradigm been addressed accurately? Have human security protection and empowerment, which has been designed and strategized, been implemented and coordinated well? I believe this question will always be there as threats to human security are mutating in all forms that we could imagine. It is timely for the architecture of a human security which is strongly linked to freedom from fear, freedom from what, and freedom from indignity to be championed on a personal basis. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a conceptual framework for human security by Sabina Alkrein, Working Paper 2, Center for Research on Inequality, Human Security and Ethnicity, Christ, Queen Elizabeth House, University of Oxford said, human security focuses on a limited core of individual activities and abilities, on a minimal subset of human development and human rights. It is not sufficient for human fulfillment or flourishing, which is the ongoing process of seeking and realizing values by people in groups or communities. It would therefore be unfortunate or even tragic if institutions aiming to achieve human security were to accomplish their objective in such a way that undermine people's ability to be fulfilled and enjoy a far greater range of freedoms. People's life must not only be protected per se, they must be protected in a manner that is consistent with their long-term good. The key word is consistent and long-term good. I repeat, consistent and long-term good. In order to achieve this, championing human security in a globalization world should be a mantra carried by every individual, especially you people, young generation. By taking this at heart, human security will clearly see a human-centered vision, which is the key to the monarchy architecture of human security. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the value and fire burning inside us today to champion the human security agenda will only be visible if we carry the responsibility to heart. Let me take you what is actually happening in the world today. From celebrities and politicians throughout the world to locals, frustration and mourning continues to mount over the current ongoing amount of man-made devastation in the Amazon forest. Nearly 73,000 wildfires have decimated the Amazon rainforest this year, a record amount for an ecosystem that produces 20% of Earth's oxygen. Think about what happens when you open your car door after the windows has been rolled up on a hot day. Heat from the sun enters the car, but the frame of the car prevents it from escaping. To a small extent, this is a representation of what happens on our ignorance towards this world. Remember that so many of us are here today in a recognition that the threat from climate change is serious and it's urgent, and it is growing. Our generation's response to this challenge will be judged by history, for if we fail to meet it boldly, swiftly, and together, we risk consigning future generations to an irreversible catastrophe. Championing human security on an individual basis will surely complement civil societies, organizations, non-profit organizations, governments, countries, and the world. A lack of realization and "it's not my problem" attitude would not drive human security and its agenda anywhere. In many situations, problems and issues pertaining to human security have been addressed well. But the question now is, where are the ongoing and consistent solutions in order to ensure human security is human-centered? I believe sufficient engagement at the Asian Youth International Model United Nations is one of the ways to achieve the solutions. But please do not use this platform to merely come, sit back, relax, and enjoy the event, but it should be taken to heart. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have more than 1,500 delegates from 79 countries here. Human security is not just a world issue, it's an issue about our very own livelihoods. Once you are back in your respective countries, at your airports, at your shopping malls, at your universities, at your own homes, just turn around and look. You will understand what I'm saying to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share to you something that is unique. I discovered it and it changed my view and opened my mind to a whole new concept. There are about 1.8 billion young people between the age of 10 to 24, the largest youth population ever. Many of them are concentrated in developing countries. 4 in 10 people, which is 42% of global population, are aged under 24. You need the youth population to champion and consistently implement, improve, and address human security agenda at its core in a globalized world. In order to achieve the long-term good for the vulnerable community, the key missionary will be youth population, which is all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to share our very own story on how we can be a long-term good organization, realizing it's actually the youth who are the agent of change. I'm from Institute On Jaffa, IOJ, a non-profit organization. Dr. Sri Ishamuddin Hussein On and his son Faris Hussein are the patron of IOJ. IOJ kicked off in 2014, and September 7th marks our 5th anniversary. We have organized various programs during the last 5 years. We have and are working together with 69 public and private institutions or higher learning in Malaysia. Our success and strength are the youth volunteers. Since 2014, IOJ has and is working with almost 60,000 youths. They are the real agent of change. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, food security is an essential topic that has been vastly debated in the world. It is also a key implementation point to achieve sustainable human security, to be more precise, to achieve freedom from want. However, sustainability cannot be achieved if we do not have a consistent workforce to implement programs. We at IOJ have formulated a design of consistency in order to ensure the morning breakfast program is carried out every Wednesday from February to November since 2016. This would not be a reality if we did not have the youth volunteers from 33 private and public universities which register with us yearly. The youth took the responsibility to feed some 300 children and homeless folks in Kuala Lumpur, another 200 children in Penang, without fail. They took their responsibility to heart. They arrived at our centers at early as 5 a.m. They moved to their respective centers on time. They feed the children and conduct activities for them. These children are vulnerable. They are refugee children, undocumented, visually impaired, spastic, and we do serve the homeless community as well. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Here, I would like to share a testimony to prove how youth are the agent of change.
Actually, it is very beneficial for our St. Nicholas Home, saving us in one breakfast meal. But most important thing is the exposure and the commitment from the new youngsters actually. So that's where they commit themselves to have social obligations. They learn new things and how to serve the blind, and a new exposure for them actually.
We need people have a for that is special. I think there's a nourishment, so it's very good for the children. And then the children also can met with the local people, and then can differentiate and then to know understanding one to one.
This whole concept, Jom Bexpa, is really a wonderful idea in helping with children's nutrition and see what great work is being done, and a wonderful opportunity. We're glad to be a part of it.
Not many people who do breakfast in the morning. When you talk about soup kitchen, right? People prefer to give dinner. I believe in external, like the young blood, the young students when they come, to at the teenagers center. Indirectly, they have motivate some of the teenagers to see I want to become a student, a uni student.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I believe you too can be the agent of change. Life is to serve and not to be served. I trust the Asian Youth International Model United Nations, which has been organizing this meaningful event over the past 3 years. Today's symposium themed Human Security Agenda in Globalization World is very timely. The youth population needs to take to heart their responsibility towards overcoming the threats of the mutating human security, as I mentioned earlier. Youth of the world must champion human security on a personal basis in order to complement the human security agenda. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, and not next year. Start today. You are the agent of change. Remember, consistent and long-term good is the key change. Last but not least, I would like to thank the organizing committee of Asian Youth International Model United Nations for giving me this opportunity as a keynote speaker. And to all the delegates, have a safe journey home and may the Lord bless you. Go in peace. I leave you with a quote by Mother Teresa: be faithful in small things because it is in them that your strength lies. Thank you very much.